Hello and happy today your way. I'm your host, Chuck Beard, coming to you from the NECAT Network PEG Studios right here in Music City, and this is Metro Arts Forging Ahead. Every episode of this show brings together three Nashville artists who you may or may not already know from their various professional titles and roles around town. Within each lineup of featured artists, the categories of their day jobs vary. One is always someone who practices their art, but also works at a local arts organization or arts-related nonprofit. The second artist is an independent professional, and the third artist is someone else who is also an employee within the Metro Nashville government. If you're a returning viewer, you already know we always feature a live artist doing painting to capture the essence of what each episode becomes in real time. The canvas for the live painting is provided by Jerry's Artorama, and the other materials for the artwork are provided by Turnip Green Creative Reuse. All 10 paintings of the first season that have been featured will be featured at NECAT Network until the pop-up exhibit in December for the live season finale at the Forge. Today's live painter is Josh Snodgrass. Josh is an artist, award-winning designer, and entrepreneur who currently calls Nashville home. In January of 2018, Josh became the founder and art director of Visual Minds. He's worked with the likes of Major League Baseball, Ford Motors, Mr. Cartoon, and many other names you know, but he just moved to the new location, and I know he's super busy building more community and connections and leading by example. Josh, thanks for being here tonight in Nashville in general as well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. In each show, I've given each live painter and panel guest a general theme of the episode, an ice-breaking thought of sorts. I thought an interesting theme for today's show, being that it's the Halloween season, would be asking directly how everyone uses fear as fuel to do and just be better. Josh, I mentioned you recently moved locations from Visual Minds. How has that initial fear of displacement from one garden that you worked into moving into another been for you?
It's been an interesting process, for sure. It's definitely taken time, obviously, to get over the fear that is there from the uncertainty of, obviously what is next for Visual Minds and for my personal studio. But it's just been taking those steps and relying on the community and kind of everybody else around us in our support system to get over that fear and move on and keep pushing and not let it hold us back.
Awesome. And how did you translate that into maybe an image for today on the canvas that you're going to work on?
For sure. So I actually have here a tiger holding a skull with a bunch of flames around it. You can feel like a big cat, you can feel like a small cat, whether you're in the flames or there's other things that, you're holding on to and kind of dragging you down. You still just got to push forward, be bold, and do your next thing.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks
Absolutely.
for being here. The first guest I want to introduce is the artist who also works in Metro Nashville, a native Nashvilleian who left here to study theater performance at the University of Memphis and then returned home to work as a professional performing artist for the past 25 years, receiving professional credits as an actor, director, playwright, puppeteer, fabricator, fight choreographer, and lighting designer. Engineer Bret Wilson is an amazing human amongst amazing humans everywhere he goes. Bret has championed the mission of the Nashville Public Library for over 19 years, so few are surprised that the Nashville Public Library Foundation and the Puppet Truck champion Bret as the program director for Wishing Chair Productions. Thanks for being here today, Bret.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Quick question for you. Aside from being a fight choreographer, what was the first puppet you performed with, and what was the first show that you created to experience that magic?
The first puppet here in this town was with Mockingbird Theater. They no longer exist, I believe. But I was cast in a production, Rip Van Winkle. And one of the beautiful things about that show is that it turned a cast of 4 or 5 into a cast of 8 or 9 because we had puppets. And it did that in the minds of the audience. They saw the performers, but then they also saw the puppets and counted them in value to the story. So that was fantastic, being part of that experience, coming back here in town. That was the first. Working on a production, I would say creating it from writing to the building to the creation of the music, working with musicians, was a joint project with the Japanese consulate. We created a show called Momotaro the Peach Boy. In essence, it's the story of Superman. And being able to work on that was a very, very special opportunity because the consulate, they opened up their library Of course, everything was in Japanese, so I was able to work with translators, and they gave me a different perspective into the story that elevated our production in a way that I truly appreciate. So,
Did that come before Superman or after? Not that either one was stealing, but I mean, as far as
I would say that the story of Superman came from the story of Momotaro. This story it traces so far back, and it's so unique that, to my understanding, the venture into animation and if you're familiar with Japanese animation, it has such a huge hold on my life, but I know a lot of other people. But the first venture into animation was for the Japanese culture, was a recreation of the Momotaro story. So their first animated venture was that story. It's exquisite to read for yourself. It's great to, of course, be able to see a puppet presentation of it, but there are a lot of different versions of it. But if you're familiar with the premise of the Superman story, you get a Japanese take as the origin for those themes. So cool. It's really, really wonderful.
Now, we've had several guests on here that, like, whether, like, say specifically like a singer that the first time they performed, they're like, oh, this is me forever. Was that something that you felt similarly, like when you did your first show with puppets? I mean, is that something that clicked, or was it a gradual thing?
I would say it was. It gave new meaning to a performer. You know, when as a performing artist, you know, working in the theater, I'm always thinking about what I can bring to a character. But working with puppets, it's really fascinating that whether you're performing in front of children or seniors, the mechanism that makes this thing move, that brings life to it, you disappear. I mean, you could literally be standing directly in front of them and you matter not. And all of the work, all of the focus goes directly to this character, which I find it to be a very, very beautiful synergy between something that's either created, something that's bought, and it's something that I had experienced in my education, but never thought that I would be able to make a life's career out of it. And I'm thankful that I chose that.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Great start. Thanks, Bret. The second guest I'd like to introduce is the artist who practices their art while spending a lot of time also working with local arts organizations, or a few. I'm talking about the one and only Clarence Edward and his epic creation of CE Gallery. Among other epic creations and collaborations every day, Clarence is also a Nashville native who first left home to study in Memphis as well, specifically communications and fine arts, before spending some quality years creating art and finding inspiration in New York City before answering the call for family and friends and, quite frankly, the city to make a new home and vibe in Nashville. I also met Clarence when he first served as a commissioner for the Metro Arts Commission around the time I started. So we have that going for us. Some people call him Clarence, some call him DJ Radin, but everyone is always grateful to be around him. So thank you for being here, Clarence.
Thanks for having me.
Quick question for you. What was the first time you became a DJ, and what do you love most about that art form?
Actually, unofficially, I became a DJ at a nursing home in Harlem in 2018. One of my older coworkers, I used to work for the mayor at the time, invited me there because she would invite me every year because I didn't have any family in New York. So we was just there, and I was like, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. They was like, prove it. And it was me and a bunch of older women in Harlem, and I just started playing from my phone, and that was my first experience DJing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I will talk more about that in a little bit, for sure. Thanks, Clarence. Finally, the third featured artist of the episode, an independent artist who is not a native Nashvilleian, but feels like he's helped every Nashvilleian understand more clearly what it means to live here and to be more positive addition to Nashville's never-ending story. Most in town know him as the former host of This Is Nashville, but a lot of people know him as a teacher, a speaker, a music producer, a rap artist, a writer, and narrator of the cosmos, while probably being the coolest human you haven't really met yet. Khalil Ekulona, thanks for being the light you are and for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
No problem. Quick question for you. Speaking directly to the music, who has been the most influential artist to your own art and craft of telling stories, and why?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
a long list of artists and musicians from a lot of different genres. I got to think, if I talk about hip hop, I do have not a rap artist, I'm a hip hop artist. I think there's a very large distinction between the two. But hip hop wise, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, KRS-One, those are some of the artists that I love as far as hip hop is concerned. Jazz, I really got into jazz in my early 20s. And so artists like Ahmad Jamal, Miles Davis, Ornette Coleman is somebody who's amazing. John Handy, another amazing saxophone player. Duke Ellington, a lot of the classics. I found myself as I got older, liking a lot of the music that my parents and grandparents listened to. And just because I'm an avid vinyl collector, and you go through and you're digging, and you see, oh, Johnny Mathis, my grandfather had that, and people are like, oh, that's corny, but Johnny Mathis last year played at the Skirmahorn. Johnny Mathis has been performing for 70 years. That's rare in today's world, and that man's got a voice like an angel. So it's like all sorts of stuff, particularly a lot of old music has really guided me. Jimi Hendrix, for instance, is a big one for me.
And you've been a DJ at several things, I'm sure. I think you spun some records here and there, but like if you were at a retirement home, what would be your go-to record to go through?
Oh man, if I were at a retirement home, you got to read the room. You got to read the room. And so, I definitely would put on some Johnny Mathis and stuff, but retirement home around these days, people probably in their octogenarians in their 90s, 80s, and 70s, maybe a couple people in their late 60s. I don't think you could go wrong throwing on a lot of Motown stuff, throwing on a lot of like the British invasion of rock. Definitely a lot of the fusion of jazz and rock that happened in the late 60s, early 70s. Just this week, the legendary drummer Jack DeJohnette passed away. And Jack DeJohnette played on Bitches Brew, Miles Davis's album, if I'm correct. And so he was a part of a lot of fusion. Because it's a very interesting era, and I don't want to go off on a diatribe, but after Bitches Brew started, you started seeing a lot of rock, jazz musicians, musicians from different eras play with each other and take ideas from each other. And I think that birthed a whole new wave of music in the late 60s and 70s. So, yeah, I'd rock that stuff, but also some Johnny Mathis as well.
Yeah. Appreciate that. You said somebody passed away, but also, I just want to give a little extra nod to D'Angelo. I'm sure I'm not the only one up here that's been thinking about him a lot lately and appreciating that. So if I was DJing a retirement home right now, I'd probably throw on maybe some brown sugar and spicing things up. So last and certainly never the least, someone who is larger than life and Nashville, my friend Willie Sims, a.k.a. Big Fella. Big Fella is the ultimate bridge builder dedicated to fostering art, community, and connection. Big Fella is an entertainer, ambassador, and entrepreneur himself. He is a devoted husband and father, the ultimate friend and artist, always productive on several projects every day. I'm hoping we can get to hear from him and a few more times during the show today. He's not here with us today. He is very much alive, but we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll get to hear more from these featured guests about the why behind what they do for work and art. We'll be right back.
Coffee Talk with Metro Arts is a monthly, sometimes bi-monthly, community gathering where artists, neighbors, and those looking to get involved in the Nashville art scene can connect and share their stories, learn about upcoming projects and opportunities, and meet the people creating exciting new art in Nashville, all while enjoying a nice cup of coffee. For more details, visit us on the web at metroartsnashville.com.
The Forge Nashville mission is to give more people affordable access to the professional tools, space, and support they need to succeed as a maker and artist, and to provide new opportunities to youth and underserved communities. Welcoming beginners, passionate creators, and aspiring entrepreneurs, The Forge changes lives. The Forge has a place for everyone. Whether you're looking for a full table in a shop, a community co-working space, or just want to support Nashville's makers. To find out more, visit us online at theforgenashville.org. The Forge Nashville. Meet your makers.
Welcome back to Metro Arts Forging Ahead. I'm your host, Chuck Beard. If you're just now joining us, our guests today are Bret Wilson, Clarence Edward, Khalil Ekulona, and Josh Snodgrass on the live painting. Wait a second. I think Big, are you here in the studio with us? Can I hear you?
Thanks for that introduction, Chuck. I want to say thank you to everybody that's on the panel today. And thank you to everybody that's been watching this. We just forging ahead. Welcome to the last episode, before the last episode. And my question today, the first question is for my man Bret. Bret, How you doing, brother? Okay. As a black man growing up in Nashville, Tennessee, I would love to know how you got so deep in the puppet game, man. You know? Well, where did it happen? How did you get into this puppetry so hardcore that now you the man, you know? Wishing chair, OG, you know what I'm saying? Let me know how you got into it.
That's a great question. My origins for puppetry, it started in college. I learned a form of puppetry, pageantry puppetry. That's where these are the large body extensions. If you've ever seen a Lion King on Broadway, where the characters would wear these large prosthetic. I mean, that's the type that I focused in through advanced movement that I was really into. My trajectory, I thought it was going to go into fight choreography and for stage and film, and anything that dealt with the movement I was invested in. And when I came back to Nashville, it seemed like almost every single production, whether it be with Tennessee Rep, Nashville Shakespeare Festival, Nashville Children's Theater, Almond-Roth, almost the first 5 shows that I was cast in had a puppet in it. And I just took to it. I enjoyed being able to utilize the body, but also the idea of using puppets in telling stories. And around the time I found out that the library was starting a program called the Puppet Truck, an outreach division of Wishing Chair, and like any performer, I submitted headshot resume, and that was almost 20 plus years ago.
Well, what is it? I mean, again, being anywhere more than 10 years in today's time is an accomplishment. It's like 50-year retirement for grandparents, right? Like, what is it about the library that, and not to put the library in just rose-colored glasses here, but what has it been to you to work there and learn things that you've learned on the inside that keep you there and motivated to bring your gifts there?
I equate my time and my experiences with the library as a very precious jewel that I hold very, very dear. I've been fortunate to see children bloom. I've been able to witness an opportunity for young minds to ignite with creativity. They take the spark of imagination and they run with it. And that gives meaning to one's work. To be able to say that perhaps something that I contributed to allowed this young mind to be engaged, to be sparked, to want to be engaged with the library. And if I can say that, then my job, my life has true meaning. So,
And I mean, I've seen a few one-person puppet shows and stuff like that, but like any documentary or anything you've seen with Jim Henson, and not that he's the end-all of everything, but you see the massive amount of team that goes around it. So like, can you speak to that? You don't have to name names or anything, but it's like, what has that team dynamic been for you? Like
no, I'm going to name names.
Okay, well,
I'm going to name names. So no, the team within Wishing Chair, they are absolutely extraordinary, fantastic. And the work within Wishing Chair, the work within the foundation, the work within the library would not be possible without them. And I'm speaking specifically about Pete Carden. I'm talking about Noel Williams. I'm talking about Evelyn O'Neill. I'm talking about William Kirkpatrick, Brian Waltman. I'm talking about Sally Babowie. I'm talking about Mallory Kimbrell. I'm talking about Eve Petty. These individuals, they bring their different talents. For many years, you know, we had individuals who held degrees within audio engineering, lighting design, graduates of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. You know, individuals who have different skill sets. But if you can think, all of these different talents come to bear when the call comes in to create a story that reveals a theme. And these individuals, they do it so well. They do it with the same belief and the same heart and the desire to inspire reading, because all of our stories are based on literature that kids, adults, anyone can find in the library. If we can steer you to read, then we've done our jobs as performing artists for the library.
That's cool. Speaking of or asking for a Metro friend who's an artist and works for Metro, how do you personally keep that as a creative, the creative work for your profession, and then also the outside balance of all those other things? I mean, are you doing fight choreography on the weekends? Like, no, but what are the other things that to keep that balance for you and inspiration off the clock?
Well, you know, a lot of the things that I do and that satisfy me as an artist versus what happens at the library, I run it through a filter. You know, the library has its mission is to inspire reading, and to one of the things that I engage with is that the things that would be suitable for a young audience, the thing that feels me, may not be appropriate. Fight choreography, that might not be an element that I want to introduce. And yet stories have conflict. So the question comes, how much of a specific thing can be presented with any show that will serve young minds if necessary, and what things need to be left on the side. And I run through ideas through a series of filters, just so that I'm making sure that I'm not putting my own personal artistic stamp on something that is not needed based on the story. We try to be as respectful as possible when we create stories, because we try to pull stories from all over the world. You can learn a lesson from all cultures. So that's what we try to do, is that we pull those different stories and to be as respectful as possible, but at the same time not overstep and push over into a boundary that's inappropriate. So a lot of thought, a lot of care, and a lot of consultation takes place. We try to partner with a lot of individuals to get a lot of feedback when we create something that's special and new, but at the same time, something that's interesting, something that's fun and educational for young minds.
But do you still find time for your own art outside? That's what I'm more concerned about.
Every now and again, you know, I will engage in, you know, music. My wife's a professional violinist. She's an artistic director, orchestra director. So I will engage in music. I will go and venture into different art museums. And sometimes I just like to get lost and walk around and just see what inspires me. You know, I'm still an artist, and I encourage everyone as an artist to experience and keep themselves open to what speaks to them. That third eye is so important, and being able to feed it and nurture it is essential.
Well, thank you for that. And
Absolutely.
What speaks to me right now, I think I hear Big calling in my ear, so I think we got to go to Big.
All right, before I get into this next question, I got a quick story that's just hilarious to me. So I'm helping a friend of mine. She's doing a show at this venue called the Sea Gallery some years ago. And at the end of the show, we helping her load out, all of that. Clarence is walking around the whole time. Clarence doing everything. My man is the DJ. He's the maintenance person. He running the concession stand. He doing all that. And at the end of the night, it's probably 1:30 in the morning. We helping load out. And then Clarence, he's like, hey man, hey brother, would you help me with something real quick? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna help you. Okay, bet. So we walk outside out the back door into the parking lot. And he's like, all right man, help me get this refrigerator, man. I ain't never met nobody to ask a random person to help them move a refrigerator at 1:30 in the morning, but that's Clarence right there. Clarence gonna get it done. He gonna grab anybody that's around to help get the mission done, and nothing but love for that, Clarence. I'll help you move a refrigerator anytime, bro. So now, my question is, for my man, Clarence, with real good parents, Clarence, how, for real, you came back to the city and jumped into the venue game and being an art curator and all that. How did you do so much in so little time? You went from starting your gallery out to being the man. Like, you literally the man. You who the who's who call when they need to do something cool, or when they need a DJ. How you do that, man? Give these people some tips, bro. Every artist needs to learn from Clarence with real good parents.
Oh my God. Why would he tell this story? Oh man. I'm just super ambitious for the most part, and I'm always just like searching for ways to just work and just be progressive ultimately. And I'm always outside, and I've been like that my whole life. It was just the pandemic was the first time, and I was in New York during the pandemic, that I knew my couch was like uncomfortable. That's how I was like, oh my God, my couch, it's a nice couch, but I never sit on it. So I've always been a person who's always just been aware of what's going on around me. And I always challenge people to do that. I feel like I'm just against the phone. I'm just really into like human interaction, encountering each other. I go to the bars a lot. When I'm at the gym, I'm the person who's talking to the person next to me. I'm very adamant about just like interacting with people, because I'm a firm believer in like, there's something we can do together. So to answer his question, if somebody's around, I feel like they can do something, and we can do something that can make a greater outcome, I'm gonna put you to work. I'm gonna figure out a way. So he was the biggest dude at the time that could pick up the refrigerator. So that's why I asked him to pick up the refrigerator, yeah.
Cool. Well, when you said you came back to Nashville, decided to come back during the pandemic, did you have like a welcome home moment, or like a welcome home moment that actually confirmed like, oh, I need to be here with this art ecosystem at this moment?
Yeah, when I came home originally to help my younger brother open up his venue. And then in the midst of me helping him open up the venue, I was like, you know what, do I really want to go back to New York? And I decided I didn't, so I acquired a space. And I would say that within the first week, Red Arrow Gallery reached out to me, The Forge reached out to me, and I'm like, I haven't even did a show yet. And these people are offering me services and resources. And then within a month, I had like over 100 emails from just people who've never did shows, who've never did open mics, but they had so many ideas. And I'm like, oh, I can't leave. I have to like adhere to all these people's proposals. And it was just an overwhelming just number of just support and just inquiries that I just had to, I guess, get done. So that was when it hit me. When I looked at my email and saw 100 emails, and I was like, I can't leave.
Speaking about the art ecosystem, because we're going to take a break here in a second, but before we get to a break, I want to ask you, like, what was your first impression when you first came back to what it's like versus when you left?
My first impression, I felt like it was just a puzzle that was almost not together. A lot of missing pieces, very segregated, and I feel like I was placed here to be a bridge to put everything together. I just felt like it was just a very unfinished puzzle, if I had to put it as an analogy real quick, yeah.
Cool. We're going to take a quick break before we come back to Metro Arts Forging Ahead, if you come back right after this next segment.
Did you know Metro Arts and Nashville Public Library have a free lending library? Library card holders can choose from a selection of artworks by local Nashville artists and borrow for up to 3 months. The collection includes framed paintings, photographs, and mixed media. After 3 months, bring the artwork back and borrow a different piece. Available at Donaldson, East, Green Hills, Hermitage, Madison, Old Hickory, and Southeast branches of Nashville Public Library. For more information and to browse the collection online, please visit library.nashville.gov. Metro Nashville Arts Commission, or Metro Arts, is the Office of Arts and Culture for the City of Nashville and Davidson County. We believe that arts drive a more vibrant and equitable community. We strive to ensure that all Nashvillians have access to a creative life through community investments, artist and organizational trainings, public art, and direct programs that involve residents in all forms of arts and culture. For more information on Metro Arts, visit us on the web at metroartsnashville.com.
Welcome back to Metro Arts Forging Ahead. I'm your host again, Chuck Beard, in conversation with a few Nashville artists who inspire me and many others in this city. I want to go back to Clarence for one more question. You've shown your work all over town in different mediums and everything. What do you appreciate most? You spoke a little bit about it being a puzzle and kind of pieces are there, but putting things together and you helping that. What do you appreciate most right now about the local visual arts scene and ecosystem in general of working together? And how could it be even better?
I appreciate the level of collaboration that's happening right now. I appreciate that a lot of businesses are open to exhibiting more artists in unconventional ways, like at the Rockwall Gallery. A lot of people are utilizing their bars and restaurants more to show artists' work. So I'm appreciating that. The hotels are more, they're advocating for arts more. The new soccer stadium, they have a wing that's specifically for visual arts. So I'm really appreciating a lot of new businesses that are coming to town and are prioritizing local arts. I'm loving that.
Thanks. I cut you off there because I'm hearing Big again. He's always in my head. Big, can we hear from you?
So my final question, really ain't my final question, but it's the last of the individual questions. This goes out to my ace bone coon, my brother, one of the smoothest voices in America, Khalil Ekulona. Khalil, man, tell me this. How in the hell did you talk? You interviewed 2,000, 3,000 people in 2 years? Man, how do you do that and still stay like interested, and connected and kept all the people you talk to interested, man? That's an interesting talent, man. How you do that and continue to do it for so long and so consistent, man? That's what the people want to know, bruh. And exactly who is Pope? Yes, y'all.
Man, it was like 3 years, 3.5 years, kind of. It's one of the first things I learned when you get into the broadcast game, particularly as a host, is as the host learns, the audience learns. And so, even if I knew a lot about a topic, particularly like the hip hop focused episodes that I produced, I ain't need any notes. I lived a lot of that, but I still came at it as someone who is excited to learn about the guest that I have on. Therefore, I'm getting a new experience of learning, and the audience member is getting a new experience of learning. Therefore, it allows the guest, the person I'm sitting across from, to have moments of discovery. That is real. That's what happens when you're engaged in actual conversation, rather than sitting in and interviewing someone and sticking to your notes and sticking to the premise of things. I tried to make it loose. And, honestly, the way I looked at it is, and still look at it, even though I'm not the host of the show, all of our guests were doing us the favor. We asked them in the middle of a work day. You don't know how many times people had to work stuff around, had to bring their kids because they couldn't get babysitters. In the middle of a work day, we asked them to come to the station to sit down with us for an hour. Yes, they were talking about something they had a level of expertise in or a personal passion or interest, but they were helping us by giving us someone to talk about. And one of the things I said to myself when I got the job, I was living in New Mexico, and I said, well, you're not going to come to Nashville telling people what's what. You're going to learn about it. And the only way to learn is to ask them about themselves, to ask them what matters to them, what gets them, not to be cliche, not to, like what gets them out of bed in the morning, but what drives them to do what they're doing to the level where they're going to be on a radio show and to talk about it. And so just being eternally curious about other folks is what kind of drove me there. And the fact that other people enjoyed, sitting there listening to me, I always said I was a lucky one. I got to sit back and have the conversations, We all worked hard on the show, and the staff and the producers worked hard. I was the lucky one because I got to sit and talk to them a lot of times. But the fact that a lot of other people enjoyed it, my stint there, I'm proud of and happy. Hopefully they were able to learn something as well as I was.
I mean, it feels like the whole world's a classroom, and you mentioned New Mexico, so I want to know a little bit more, if you want to say something about that, like going from teacher to making that jump to that, because like you just said, being in radio, you're not only the teacher in that regard, but you're also more so the student.
I was out in New Mexico doing a bunch of other things, and I got the opportunity to sit as the host of this show. First, it was morning magazine television. I mean, straight up. It'd be if I were doing the show now, today's episode would have been Halloween's a couple days away. These are the outfits you can take to win your office party. It was that type of stuff, But it was fun because I got to do a lot of celebrity hits and satellite hits with celebrities and particularly a lot of sports figures. I love sports. And so a lot of sports legends I was able to talk to, as well as members of the community who would come in and talk about their areas of interest or promote their shows and things. And I was able to also give people opportunities in doing that. And then switching over to work for the NPR affiliate out there, he asked who Pope Yes Yes Y'all is, and that's one of my musical hip hop alter egos, you know. And I've been making hip hop since '97. That's kind of what led me on this. But honestly, that's why I'm here in Nashville. If I didn't make certain decisions and choices back then, I wouldn't have been here. And so, like, I was known around town, you know. He does a lot of cool stuff. He works with youth. He does art stuff. I was teaching hip hop production. Then when I got the opportunity to get into media, something felt not funny, but it felt like you need to stick with this, go for it. And so I took a risk and I stopped everything else I was doing, focused in on that. And then it turned into working for the NPR affiliate, which was interesting because then I was known outside of Albuquerque to the rest of the state, and I became this voice that people trusted because my voice really exploded during the pandemic when a lot of people were worried about how they were going to survive or where their next meal was going to come from in a lot of places. And I was able to be the host and producer of this show that, you know, eventually we wanted to inform people, but we wanted to give people hope that we were going to make it through this unprecedented thing that no human on the planet had lived through. And so it was really humbling, and it taught me a lot. And it was interesting because, you know, I had friends who, you know, frankly, I partied with, who were coming at me like, you know, not expecting more, but they were treating me like I was a politician suddenly. You know, and I was like, hold on, we got drunk 2 months ago together, you know, like you woke up on my sofa. But now they were just, it was a very interesting experience. I'll say that.
Well, in this section or this chapter with the This Is Nashville, like you were saying, I mean, that's one way for you to learn about the city, and you're meeting everybody, all the demographics, all the levels from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the things, if you don't mind sharing, that, again, like you alluded to earlier, like that you learned about yourself along the way?
Man.
You know. And those could be chapter titles or just like, you know, it doesn't have to go in.
What have I learned about myself?
Yeah. Well, obviously you learned that you needed to go to another chapter. So like, and before then, like, you know, there's, you know, chapters.
Well,
right?
you know, it was a place of discovery. I mean, honestly, I moved out here in 2021, right? So it was the first time in 30 years since college that I had moved to a city and knew not a soul, you know? That was interesting. I was really excited to what I would learn. And what I learned about myself is that I definitely, on one end, I'm definitely love to be a homebody. The job requires you to be out in the community, and I do that. But I definitely really enjoy my privacy. I enjoy, and I got where, I mean, I don't consider myself a celebrity at all, but I understand celebrities. Like, I understand why Dave Chappelle lives in Yellow Springs, Ohio now, a little bit more, because, you know, people want something from you all the time, and that's okay. But to have that time to retreat, to think, to become creative, you know, to get into your almost creative cocoon and come up with another iteration. I discovered that, you know, man, there's a whole bunch of things that I'm still learning about myself because there's life changes. You know, I turned 50 out here while I was out here, and to go through that, and it's only been a couple months of not being in the state, not being in the position as the host. So I'm learning a lot more about myself. I say the biggest thing is I've learned to have more patience with myself, which is helpful.
And it's a chapter after leaving This Is Nashville. What has that been like? What have you learned since then? Or what?
I've learned is sleep is medicine, and we all need it, and we're not getting enough. You know, it's the type of thing where, I mean, I'm sure both of these gentlemen work hard late into the night.
And Clarence doesn't sleep. So
doing what they do. And we think that, I can get some sleep in a couple days. No, we're not getting enough sleep. And the one thing I've learned is society will often lie to you. So if you go on social media or you look at society and it says, these are the ways to be a productive human being, that's a lie. We need more sleep than we're getting. But we live in a society that doesn't really necessarily honor that unless you have considerable material and financial resources to afford yourself that. You don't want to be called lazy. Being called lazy is refusing to do something. Getting sleep when you absolutely need it. It's like water. Those are the first medicines available to life, and it's incredibly, incredibly important.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. We'll give some love to the live painter for a minute. Josh, what we got going on over here?
So we are probably 15% of the way through blocking this top section of this tiger out. Blocking in some pink, gonna block in some purple, gonna block in some blue in the back, and hopefully it all comes together pretty nicely.
No, is there a reason, again, I'm not a painter, so not only just picking that color, but also picking where you kind of attacked it?
For sure. So for me, the bright, bold colors are what really grab people's attention. I mean, especially in Nashville, a city where beige seems to be our favorite color. Blue, purple, pink, bright colors that really have life and also bring out good human emotion. Need to be seen, need to be pushed, and need to not be kind of put in the closet. So.
And this seems very conventional, being on an actual canvas, than what I'm seeing some of your examples all over the place, car hoods and different things. So like, can you speak to some of those examples that you've done recently that
For sure.
that excite you? Yeah.
For sure. So I do love, obviously, working on, the traditional canvas. As a gallery owner and a curator, there is clearly something there that speaks to me, showcasing the work in that traditional form. But as a unique artist and somebody who is trying to blaze my own path a little bit, things like you're talking about, so the car hoods and actual painted cars, and doing my style art on these cars, is just something a little bit different, and it creates a unique canvas and something hopefully inspiring for other artists to go into as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. My car's outside if you want to take to it.
Perfect. You're up next.
Appreciate it. We need to take one more quick break here on Metro Arts Forging Ahead before our final segment. Thank you for sticking with us. We'll be right back.
NECAT stands for Nashville Education Community Arts Television, and our mission is twofold: expose Middle Tennessee viewers to arts and education programming created both locally and around the world, and teach individuals and organizations who wish to make TV shows how to do so. Let them use our equipment and resources, and then broadcast those shows for them. For more information on how to get started creating your own TV show with NECAT, visit us on the web at necatnetwork.org.
Suppose for just a moment you were Nashville's government. You have a bit of money and you want some to be spent, and keeping Nashville beautiful's a priority for you. You want to help your people out too. What would you do? You could start a Metro Arts, 15 citizens on a commission. Art is what they know. Them and 5 committees decide where the money goes, and dedicated staff to see that all the work gets done, making Nashville better for everyone. You could start a Metro Arts. Public art and grants would each play a part, occasionally embroiled in scandal, but it's nothing you can't handle. You should start a Metro Arts.
Ellen, we love you, Ellen. Ellen, we love you.
On the board together. Oh my God.
Welcome back to Metro Arts Forging Ahead. Again, I'm your host, Chuck Beard. Today we've had a big time learning from Bret Wilson, Clarence Edward, Khalil Ekulona, and Josh Snodgrass. In this last segment, I want to pick up right back to, wait a second, I'm hearing big again. Big? Big?
All right, so this question is for everybody, right? This for all y'all. So, from your perspective, what is one thing that Nashville is missing, or like one thing that Nashville could add that would be the biggest benefit to you as a creator or artist, or fellow creators and artists? What's the one thing, like if you could just drop one thing in the game that will help everybody the most, what is that one thing from your perspective?
Clarence, can you kick it off?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a big one. Nashville needs a very unconventional, intense, thought-provoking contemporary art center. We need that. We need a space where the political art can be so unapologetic. We need a space that collects art from local artists. We really need a space that allows artists to be just so unconventional and raw. We need that.
What you got, Brett?
Well, working with youth, giving them an opportunity to explore, create themes, and to be able to turn those ideas into tangible productions, whether they be puppet productions, whether they be dance productions, whether they be actually fully fledged stories. I would love for there to be an avenue, specifically with the library possibly, but an avenue for young creators to become young authors and to be able to hold their original stories and make them available to other children. You know, this story was created by my friend who's in a lower grade level or a higher grade level. To be able to have that for aspiring authors, and then maybe even having an avenue for those original works, these local works, turned into something more by other artists, whether they be musicians or dancers or puppeteers or theater performance groups. But to be able to tap the imaginations of our young and turn them into something special would be something that I would love to see.
Hear, hear. What about you, Cliff?
I think Nashville needs a space where, I'm going to be totally selfish in this, because that's what he asked.
Yeah.
A space where I think an area, an avenue, an event, a structure where the four elements of hip-hop culture are taught, celebrated, and flourish. Breaking, graffiti, MCing, and DJing. You know, there's a lot of hip-hop out here. It's more a music industry hip-hop. It's got nothing to do with the elements of hip-hop culture. And I think people get that conflated a bit. Obviously, we're in Music City, so a lot of the music sometimes gets clouded because of the industry influence. And so I think if it had that, yeah, I just think it should have that. It's Music City. If it doesn't have that, I think it's Music City-ish. You know?
Yeah. I'm going to go, I don't usually go right to the paper, but I want to get this one right because I think it's going to be a question that I would want to hear if I was listening to you three. Each of you are leaders in every aspect of art and work you create, no matter where you call home. What responsibility or extra weight do each of you personally feel or welcome or think about when it comes to race, representation for others, young and old, in the city, state, or country right now with like what you do? I know that's a heavy one, but it's like y'all are all straight shooters.
Like, you mean like what responsibilities I hold for
Yourself.
Oh.
Within your art of like, and again, what weight or welcome thing that you put, we put the pressure on ourselves, right? So like what pressure you put when it comes to those things of race or representation in the world we're living in right now?
I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't think about race a lot. It comes through and I let it kind of fly through. I think we spend too much time talking about race in the country to a degree. I mean, there's things we have to talk about because I think we have, again, society lies to us and we're expected to understand everyone's experience. Mm-hmm. And there's no way that that's possible. One thing I learned in the show is for every horrific thing and hardship that someone in North Nashville is facing, I know that some African American in North Nashville is facing, I know that a poor white person in Tracy City is facing the same thing, you know? And so it's like, all right, what are we talking about actually at the end of the day? It's funny because with like art and creation, working on a podcast, but I'm also getting, when I was in LA, I was in a group called Fresh Air, and we're getting the band back together, and we were like looking at the kind of statements we wanted to make artistically with our music. We just want to be honest about who we are and honest about the world and where it is. And so, yeah, I think you can be honest about the world and not necessarily in throwing shade, but in just holding a mirror up, and that includes the mirror to yourself as well. So if anything, I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna talk about this topic and it's not favorable, we like to lay a lot of humor in our stuff, I have to include myself in it. It's not sitting back and being like, I am superior morally than anything else. No, there's not one perfect person around us. You know, maybe Clarence with the perfect parents, with the good ass parents.
Parents are not perfect.
But you know, with the good parents. But you know, it's like okay, let's be honest and let's be real. And I just wanna transcend above a lot of the tropes that we seem focused on these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind.
Oh, no, go for it.
You got it.
Go ahead, Brett.
So, you know, one of the fortunate and beautiful things about the fact that the library has continued this tradition. It's almost 90 years old. Storytelling through the puppetry arts, and one of the beautiful things that I look for is being able to find variety. We have over 38 different productions, and like I said earlier, they range from all over the world. And one of the joys that I get is being able to fill a gap, being able to say that this is an offering that did not exist, and potentially offers greater insight to the patrons that serve or come into the library. You don't have to have a library card in order to come in and experience the show. A lot of times being in Music City, a lot of people, they come in from all over the world. They come here for the music, they come here for the sports, but they stop at the library. A lot of people, they go to their local libraries, they stop at the library and they take in a show and they experience a story from another part of the world with no motive but just to reveal something about another culture. And whether you're old, whether you're young or young at heart or anything, if you enjoy a good story, you're going to enjoy it with no strings attached. So one of the things that there is no, I guess, burden for me other than to say that this is an offering and it's going to expand someone's insight into someone else. And if we can continue to do that, I think this is beneficial to everyone.
Cool. Would you like to add anything, Clarence, to that? Yeah.
For me, the responsibility most comes from me being a native Nashvilleian, experiencing Nashville pre-gentrification, pre-pandemic, and then leaving and then coming back and seeing a whole new Nashville. So I'm like, the responsibility most for me that comes to mind is just making sure that the representation is still there, the foundation of what Nashville was, making sure that there's space for the creatives to just have a reminiscent experience, because Nashville was very different than it is right now. And I'm born and raised out East Nashville, like Maplewood when it was the hood. And so, I know what Nashville used to be, and it was beautiful to see so many beautiful Black and brown people literally in the downtown within the Metro Nashville, to see it now very different. So I have that responsibility to make sure that people know that, like, we're still here, though the creativity's still here, and I think that answers your question. Yeah,
cool.
I'm at
no wrong answers. It's beautiful answers, and not trying to get any sound bites either. Just like want to hear.
No, that was on my heart.
No. Speaking of, I think I'm hearing Big one more time. If we can go to Big, I think he might be right over my shoulder.
Appreciate you one more time, Chucky Boo Boo. Thank everybody on the panel, all y'all, Bret, Khalil, Clarence are real good parents. Appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us on this episode. Everybody watching, make sure y'all come out to the final episode. We doing a big one at the Forge. Chuck got the dates. Make sure you be there or be square. And that's about it, man. On behalf of Metro Arts, WNXA, NECAT, the National Education and Community Arts Television Station, the Nashville Public Library, who else? The Forge and Feather Vision. Thank y'all for rocking with us, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
All right, before we go, do want to say that you can come out December 11th at the Forge. We're going to have more details, but that's where you'll be able to see Josh's finished product for his artwork. And that's about all the time we have here today for this episode of Metro Arts Forging Ahead. Thanks to everyone on the show, everyone listening and watching the show, everyone at NECAT, Cameron, Eric, Lana, everybody else, and more. Behind the camera, everyone smiling in the live audience, NECAT Network, Nashville Public Library, Wishing Chair Productions, Fellovision, Big Fella, Metro Arts, WXNA, The Forge Nashville, Jerry's Artorama, Turnip Green Creative Reviews, CE Gallery, and you, the viewer. We are going to end every Metro Arts Forging Ahead episode this season with the final word, as it should be, from one of our featured artists. Before he does what he do, I certainly want to sincerely thank you for tuning in here today and for staying tuned for more great stuff soon. Handing the curtain call back to Khalil for his final words of the day. One last time, my name is Chuck Beard, and I hope you're feeling better about your Nashville world after listening to some of our creative friends and seeing how they are making Nashville and the world a more beautiful place. Khalil, please share your power.
Wow, final word, okay. In a time, 2025, where we as you people, human beings living in the United States, people are suffering right now. Some people are celebrating at that suffering. Kind of weird to me. Some people, it's not that weird too. A lot of people are looking at each other and deciding who they're against, more so than who they're with, who they're for. But guess what? We all are breathing air. We all have to eat. We all are gonna live. And we're all going to die. That is the absolute truth of the matter. As I sit and ponder and think about what the future of human beings is going to be, used to be full of hope. Then for a while there, in the 30s, it was a little bit of despair. And now, it's blank. I don't know. See, that's the thing. None of us know the actual true history of how human beings is going to play out. We know how we would like it to fit according to our, let's say, preferences, mostly political. But guess what? Politics are only at the moment. And politics are only really, really local. The universe does not care about the politics of the United States at all. There's too much going on in the universe for it to care about that. So let us try to do that. Let us try to come to each other. Let us find the true light in each other rather than judge because of the blue light in our hands. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. So, as we move forward, as we forge ahead, let's remember something that I always said to end every show. Be good to each other.
That's done.